Welcome, Minister, to this broadcast.
Thank you very much, Toivo.
Indeed. Minister, tell us, you are actually partnering, the Namibian government is partnering with UNESCO and other stakeholders to have this important 30th anniversary World Press Freedom Day to be held in Windhoek. What specific role is the Namibian government playing in this matter?
Yes, good day, viewers and listeners. Yeah, the Namibian government is co-hosting the event with UNESCO and co-organizing it.
Yeah.
We have put up a committee which I co-chair with a UNESCO resident or country representative.
Yeah.
And then there are a number of subcommittees that are under the main secretariat committee, which is chaired by the executive director of the Ministry of Information. So these are to ensure that there is proper organization, from documentation to logistics to security and so forth. So as a co-chairperson, I oversee the overall process of organizing this conference.
Yeah.
Even in terms of funding, we will be putting in funding as government, just as UNESCO will be putting in funding. Of course, it will depend on how much other partners are also bringing in. As you know, we had fundraising events twice by now. Then that will determine what will be our final input.
Okay. Okay. So, from a symbolic point of view, the fact that the Namibian government, or any government in particular, or in general, is teaming up with UNESCO on an event of this nature, we know that historically there's always been this adversarial relationships between governments and the media, globally speaking. But the Namibian government has taken a particular step to say, a deliberate step to say that they are going to be partners in this event. What does that say from a symbolic point of view of a government actually involving itself in a matter that has to do with press freedom?
From that symbolic point of view, it shows you a commitment to the values of democracy and transparency.
Yeah.
Because as government, we do not take the media as adversaries. We take them as partners in information dissemination. Because it is important for the public to be informed about government programs, what government is doing, about what is going on in the country. Now, if you don't partner up with the media, how do you then disseminate information? Yes, you may have state media, but they alone do not reach all corners of the country. There are other corners where they do not reach, where other media houses do reach.
Indeed. And does that then also make sense now, Minister, to our viewers, both in Namibia and globally, that Namibia for so many years has been dominating the press freedom charts?
Yes, for obvious reasons. As you know, it has always been number one in Africa, with the exception of 2018. Currently, it is still number one and number 23rd in the world. So that speaks to that. The commitment that we had about the values of democracy, freedom of speech, transparency, they have propelled us to that position.
So what is it that the Namibian government has done correctly? Unlike other governments, perhaps we don't have to go into the details of other governments, but what is it that Namibia is doing well from a regulation point of view?
Yeah, once, for example, not only from regulation, but also from practical. Let me start with practical. We haven't arrested journalists. We have not tortured journalists. We haven't killed journalists as it happened in some other countries. With regard to regulation, we allow the media some space. They have their own media ombudsman and so forth. Well, I tabled the Access to Information Bill. So when it is passed, it is becoming a law. All of these are regulatory framework that shows that we have relatively done well as a country in order to promote the freedom of speech and the media.
In the media. And let's talk about the Windhoek Declaration briefly, Minister, that led to all the campaigns that eventually led to the World Press Freedom Day being declared globally. Again, the fact that this was birthed in Namibia, what does that say about this country's commitment to the press freedom? And just from a historical point of view, to know that it all started in Windhoek.
You must know that Namibia was by then 1 year old.
Yeah.
And following the adoption of the Namibian constitution in February 1990 by the Constituent Assembly, this constitution was hailed as one of the best symbols of democracy in the world.
Yeah.
So as a newly born state, so it was ideal to have then the declaration born in a country whose constitution is hailed as one of the best democracies in the world. So it shouldn't be surprising that the declaration was actually born here. And you had people that were pioneering the process, people like Gwen Lister, who is your co-champion,
Yes.
who has been involved in the process. And with the support of the government, by then Minister Bena Madila was Minister of Information. So it is indeed that historical importance of us being a young democracy with a constitution that is exemplary to the world that made it possible for the declaration to be born here.
Indeed. And Minister, what can you tell us about the events, the build-up to the 3rd of May? A lot is happening. I know that you are working around the clock to make sure that as a host country that we succeed and that we host a beautiful event. Where are the preparations stand at the moment, and are we ready? Will we be ready by the date?
Yeah, preparations are ongoing, and we believe we will be ready by the date. We still have a month to go. This committee has been meeting monthly, but now as we go in April, it will be meeting frequently to look at what is yet to be done, what has not been done, and so forth. And so that all activities that build up to the 3rd of May would have been carried out.
Indeed. What is the so what do we want to emerge out of that event when everything is over? What is it that we want to say? This was the event. The way forward is this.
We want to keep first the momentum of the Windhoek Declaration. We want to keep that momentum since 1991. So we are going to carry on that one as we are coming now to 2021. And we would want this occasion to be remembered as that occasion that cemented further the foundation that has already been there, where clarion call will still be made and be reiterated with regard to respect of media freedom and human rights in general in the world.
And UNESCO, how would you describe the working relationship between government and UNESCO?
The UNESCO is quite a reliable partner who we are happy to work with. We have a very good working relationship, both here, the local office, as well as the office in Paris.
Okay. Maybe the final question then, Minister, is what lessons do you want the world to learn from Namibia as a symbol of free press going forward?
Yeah, the lesson that I want the world to learn is that there could be a very good cordial relationship between the government and the media when they work for the common purpose of public dissemination, transparency, and freedom of speech. There does not need to be always antagonism between the two stakeholders.
Yeah, yeah. So then that speaks to, this is my last point, but so then that speaks to the theme of this year's event, information as a public good.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, indeed. Minister, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate your time.
It's my pleasure.
Yes.
Okay.
That is the Namibian Minister of Information and Technology, Dr. Peya Mushelenga, speaking to us about what is the latest regarding the preparations for the 2021 World Press Freedom Day event that is going to be held in Windhoek from the 1st to the 3rd of May 2021. Thank you for watching.